Welcome back, everyone. In the last video, I introduced the Pet Summon RPG game that I built almost entirely with Claude AI. Today we're going much deeper. I'm going to show every important prompt I used, how I designed the pets, how I generated and rigged the models, and finally how I used Roblox Studio MCP together with Claude Opus to build the entire gameplay system. Let's start with creating our first pet. I opened ChatGPT and uploaded several photos of my dog. These were just normal photos I took myself. After uploading them, I typed create image reference for my low-poly cartoon-style dog so I can generate 3D model for it. ChatGPT generated a really nice character design. The only issue was that the dog was sitting. Since I wanted to rig and animate the character later, I needed the dog standing on all 4 legs. So I typed, I want to rig this model, so please make him stand with 4 legs, not sit. ChatGPT then generated a new design with multiple views and a proper standing pose. This is exactly what we need for 3D model generation. After that, I used a screen capture tool and cut the design into separate front, side, and angle views. I recommend preparing 4 images from different directions. Next, I opened Meshy AI in the browser. Inside the workspace, I uploaded the main dog image. For model type, I selected standard. Even though we want a low poly model eventually, I strongly recommend not choosing low poly during the first generation. I tested that before and the results were usually worse. Then I enabled multi-view and uploaded the remaining reference images. Once everything was ready, I clicked generate. After a short wait, Meshy generated a very nice dog model. However, the first generated model was extremely high poly. This one had around 250,000 triangles. That is a problem, because Roblox Studio only supports up to around 10,000 triangles per mesh. To fix that, I clicked the Remesh button. You can choose either fixed or adaptive. I highly recommend adaptive and selecting low quality reduction. With fixed mode, Meshy tries to force the model into a specific polygon count, which can sometimes create holes or bad geometry. For topology, you can choose quads or triangles. Quads are easier to edit later in Blender. After confirming, the model was reduced to roughly 3,000 triangles while still keeping a great shape. Next, I clicked texture and generated textures for the model. The final result looked amazing. Then I downloaded the model as FBX format. You can also use OBJ or other formats Blender supports, but FBX works great for animation workflows. Now let's move into Blender. I imported the dog FBX model and made sure Blender MCP was installed and connected to Claude through MCP. I have a separate setup video linked in the description if you need help configuring Blender MCP. After confirming the connection was working, I opened Claude and typed, "Nice, I want to rig this dog model. Please add skeletons to it first." Claude immediately generated a complete armature called Dog Rig. Then I typed, "Nice. Please continue parent the mesh to the armature and automatic weights." Claude automatically weighted the mesh to the skeleton and even performed some quick tests. After that, I asked Claude what animation should come next. It suggested an idle animation with breathing and tail wagging. Claude generated the idle animation. Then it suggested creating a walk cycle. The first walk cycle had a looping issue because the last frame didn't match the first frame. I simply asked Claude to fix the loop. After that, the walk animation became smooth and seamless. I wanted a more advanced idle animation, so I typed, "Make another animation called idle, so it stand in idle state sometime, and sometimes sit down and looks around." Claude generated a new idle animation, but the feet alignment wasn't correct. To solve that, I asked Claude to add IK bones. Claude added IK controls to all 4 legs. After testing by moving the IK controls around, everything worked perfectly. If you're new to Blender, switching between animations can feel confusing. You need to open another panel, switch to Dope Sheet, then Action Editor, and finally select the animation from the list. Honestly, I hadn't used Blender for a while, so I simply asked Claude to teach me how to switch animations. Now let's create the second pet. For the parrot, I used ChatGPT again and typed, "Design for me a 3D parrot in cartoon style, with multiple views and easy for generate rig model in Meshy AI." The design looked fantastic, but I made a huge mistake. The wings were drawn too close to the body. This caused a lot of problems later when rigging and animating. I uploaded the parrot images into Meshy and generated the model using standard mode. Then I generated textures and remeshed the model. This time I selected fixed polygon count instead of adaptive. That was a mistake. The texture became damaged and black patches appeared across the body. Fortunately, Meshy includes texture editing tools. I clicked Edit Texture, selected the healing brush, and manually painted over all the damaged areas. After applying the changes and saving, the texture looked much better. I downloaded the corrected FBX and imported it into Blender. Then I switched Claude to the Parrot project and asked it to generate a skeleton. Claude created the skeleton, but the wing bones were placed incorrectly. I asked it to reposition the wing bones, generate automatic weights, and add IK controls for both the legs and wings. Unfortunately, the original wing design still caused deformation issues. The wings were simply too close to the body. I spent quite a bit of time trying to improve it. But eventually, I asked Claude to separate the wings into their own mesh. The result wasn't perfect, but it was good enough. Finally, I asked Claude to generate both idle and flying animations. Once I was satisfied, I selected both the mesh and armature and exported everything as FBX. For export settings, I enabled selected objects, checked animation, changed path mode to copy, enabled embed media, and set scale to 0.01. Now it's time to move into Roblox Studio. I imported the Parrot FBX using the 3D importer. For rig type, I selected Custom and loaded animations directly from the SBX. One thing you'll notice is that Roblox doesn't import root motion exactly like Blender. The parrot wasn't flying as high as it did inside Blender. That's okay, because we can reposition it later through scripting. I repeated the same process for the dog. After importing everything, I published all animations to Roblox and copied the animation IDs into my notes. Next, I imported my island arena level. The pets already contained glow effects, which I could later use for spawn effects. After importing the environment, I adjusted the scale and positioned the pets inside the map. For the shop system, I searched Toolbox for Simulator Shop Test and used a free model. During testing, I noticed the ocean looked way too realistic. It didn't fit the cartoon style of the game. So I opened Claude and typed, "The water still does not display same texture as editor view. Can you do simple solution for just animate the default water texture?" Claude modified the system, and the water animation now matched the editor appearance. The next issue was the shop itself. When I started the game, the shop fell apart because it contained many separate parts. Now let's look at the Pet VFX setup. Each pet contains a Glow VFX folder and a Combat VFX folder. Inside Glow VFX, I duplicated the original mesh and changed its material to neon. Then I adjusted the color. For extra glow effects, I copied a free lightning particle effect from a toolbox asset called Aura NPC. For the parrot, I used separate glow meshes for both the body and wings. Combat VFX contains attack effects, hit effects, and projectiles. Most of these effects came from free flipbook particles assets available in Toolbox. I simply copied them into the pet folders and customized colors where necessary. For enemies, I created a folder called Enemy Spawn Locations. Inside it, I placed invisible parts around the map to represent enemy level zones. With all assets prepared, it was finally time to build the game systems. I created a brand new Claude project. Inside the project details, I documented the entire game design, pet information, and animation IDs. For the shop icons, I used ChatGPT again and generated images for dog, parrot, and a locked dragon pet. After importing the images into Roblox Studio, I created a game design document and provided it to Claude. Then I typed, "First let make the shop. When I interact with it, open the Shop GUI, items image I've added to Asset Manager. The shop should have button to buy and confirm." Claude requested the Asset Manager image IDs. I copied them from Roblox and pasted them into Claude. I could walk up to the shop, press E, and a professional-looking interface appeared. One issue was that the gold display overlapped Roblox's default buttons. I asked Claude to move it to the right side. Problem solved. Purchasing now opened a confirmation window and displayed a success message. At this point, I was really happy with the progress. Now came the hardest feature in the entire game, pet summoning and combat AI. I described the dog model, its VFX folders, its animations, and exactly how I wanted it to behave. Following the player, attacking enemies, playing spawn effects, triggering combat effects. A few minutes later, Claude had completed an entire pet system. I tested it immediately. The purchase worked, but the shop window stayed open after buying the pet, making it difficult to see the spawn effect. I asked Claude for options and chose automatic shop closing after purchase. Then I tested again. The spawn effect looked great, but the glow faded too quickly. I reported the issue and Claudia slowed down the fade timing. Perfect. The dog now followed the player and animated correctly. Before testing combat further, I wanted to add the parrot. I described the parrot attributes and also increased the starting gold to 2,000 for testing. The parrot spawned successfully, but there was another issue. It was flying way too high. I asked Claude to lower its flying height from 8 studs to 4 studs. That fixed it. Now it was time to add enemies. I explained the enemy spawn location structure and described how enemy progression should work. Claude asked for enemy models. I instructed it to generate simple Roblox R6 style zombies. It also asked about gold rewards and enemy counts. I selected level-scaled gold rewards and 3 enemies per spawn location for better performance. The system worked great. However, during testing, I was almost instantly attacked by enemies. Their detection range was too large. I asked Claude to reduce enemy aggro distance. After that, the gameplay felt much better. The dog attacked correctly, but I noticed attack VFX weren't appearing. I reported the issue and continued working. A few hours later, I returned and updated the project documentation with new features, created pets and shop system, added enemy NPCs. Player purchases now spawn additional pets instead of replacing existing ones, added pet hit reactions, added random treasure chest spawning, improved natural pet movement, added pet HP regeneration, added pet health bars. After that, I continued improving sounds, treasure systems, and fixing bugs. One funny bug caused enemies to collide with each other and launch into the sky. Claude helped solve that too. Eventually, I reached a point where I was extremely happy with the game. Pet attacks, health bars, sound effects, treasure chests, money systems, enemy progression, everything worked together surprisingly well. For future updates, I plan to add pet leveling, player skills, inventory systems, dragons, and many more powerful creatures. Before we finish, let me quickly walk through the project structure. Inside Workspace, we have the Island level, Ocean, Collider Ground, Enemy Spawn Locations, and Sound folder. Inside Replicated Storage, we have Remote Events, Shop Configuration, Sound Configuration, and Sound Management modules. Shop Config stores pet IDs, names, prices, images, descriptions, lock status, starting gold values, pet stats, and animation IDs. Inside Server Script Service, we have Enemy Server, Gold Chest Server, Pet Server, Shop Server, Enemy Config, and Enemy Registry. Inside Server Storage, we keep pet models and chest templates. Inside Starter Guide, we have the complete shop interface. Inside Starter Player Scripts, we have Shop Client and VFX Client. And finally, for a fun test, I increased the starting gold value to 999,999. Then I bought a massive army of pets. The result was absolutely ridiculous. The pet army destroyed almost everything in sight, but even then, those level 2000 enemies still need something stronger. Maybe that's where the dragon will come in the next episode. If you enjoyed this tutorial and want more Roblox Studio MCP, Claude AI, Blender MCP, and AI game development content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what pet we should build next.